Welcome back to Adobe Photoshop CC. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the new features of the selection tool in the Photoshop Creative Cloud, just recent release, which is pretty awesome, 2018. So I have some images open here. This comes from pexels.com. Wonderful site. They have all these cool open source photos. So if you click on them, what I'll say typically is free for personal and commercial use, no attribution required. Freaking awesome site. Definitely check them out. I always like to give them a shout out to that site. So I have some photos here, a couple of them, three of them, and then I have a couple of cell phone photos of myself looking at some of my artwork here at the LA Center for Digital Art that just had a show in January, and just some 4 pieces. And here's a picture of my buddy and I taking a selfie. And I wanted to show this new feature with either the quick selection or the magic wand, which is this select subject option here. So when you click on it, it does a pretty good job of automatically selecting the main subject. So if I hit Q for quick mask, which is again the same as click on the little camera icon here, you're basically in sort of temporary mask mode where you can paint with black and white and add and modify. And you can see here it's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job of nailing down the subject very quickly. So in this photo here, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because Photoshop's going to be like, oh, what is the main subject here? So when I click on it again, it's going to select me over here, but it's also going to select one of my digital images here on the side here. So I'm going to deselect that one, and then I'm going to switch to this one here and click on the select subject, and you'll see it does a pretty good job of selecting the rock here. And if I actually make a permanent mask by clicking on the mask icon here, you can see you could definitely work with this image here very quickly for compositing, and that gives you enough, it's not the exact selection, but it's definitely enough organic quality where you could utilize this in some sort of photo image. Same with this subject here. If I click on select subject, you'll see that the woman here is isolated pretty quickly. And it's not perfect, but you can modify it very easily, right? So this final one here, I wanted to share how to do this. We're going to duplicate this layer real quick by right-click, duplicate layer. And what I want to do with this is I'll double-click and unlock this one. What we're going to do is we're going to select and refine the subject here on this one. And it does a pretty decent job, except for a little bit here and here on the ear. But you can see by hitting the Q key, what's going on here. And if I zoom in, you can see overall, it's tiny little sliver here and here. I'm not going to worry about those, but it's primarily right in here that we have to adjust. So if I switch to my brush tool, I can literally paint out these areas. So if I paint with black, I'm basically masking out the areas. And you want to make sure you have normal blend mode set to 100% opacity when you're masking. But now I can come in here and kind of paint across here by hand. I might hit the X key and remove and bring back some of his neck here. And then remove some of the ear, which is kind of hidden from the mask. Same with right here and here. But you can see how quickly, I did a pretty decent job of masking out this figure. So if I hit Q again, I can now click on the mask, and voila. Now there's not enough transparency in the hair here. You can see it's pretty opaque. In fact, when I add a new layer, drag it down and paint color in the background, I'll paint this crazy green here. You can see there's no transparency at all in the hair, and we should see a little gleam of transparency in the hair here. So this is why I like to work with a couple layers to composite and use the refine mask option. So what I'm going to do is hold Alt or Option and drag this mask up to here, and then I'm going to double click on this mask, and that'll lead me into the refine mask command, and basically I can go through some of these options. So you can choose whichever way you want to view this. If you want to view it black and white, you can see how opaque that mask is there. I like to look under overlay, and I like high quality preview here selected. I'm going to turn on smart radius, and you'll see what will happen in the hair here as we increase this radius value here. You'll start to see more of the hair open up a little bit, and we'll get a little bit more transparency coming into that hair. So you can adjust this to your preference. I think around maybe 20 or so. 16 looks pretty good. I'm starting to see some openings in there now. And all I can do is click OK to apply. Before I do that, I want to share, you can see here some problems around the edgings along here. I'll go ahead and click OK, and you'll see it does a good job with the hair. We can start to see through a little bit, some transparency, but there's some issues in other parts. And this is why I like to use two masks. So with this mask, I'll keep the hair, and this one I'll keep the body. So as I turn off the layer, you can kind of see the issue here. So on this mask here, what I'll do is I'll just use my lasso tool and just draw a very quick kind of sloppy selection, except for maybe right here. It looks like there's a little bit more there I have to select, and then go around, and I'm just going to hold the shift key to add a little bit more of that selection right there. And that looks pretty good. And then with this selected, all I gotta do is hit the delete key or the backspace, which will fill in that area, and then hit Control D. Now to finish this up, all I have to do now is select the bottom mask and remove the hair here. So as I drag over with the lasso tool and kind of select the hair part, what I want to do now is basically hit Alt Delete or Alt Backspace to kind of get rid of that. And I got rid of the head. You can see I got rid of a little bit too much, which is showing through from the other mask. So all I got to do is click on that one, hit the B key, and basically just paint with white, and that will bring back that area there. But now as we zoom in here, you can see now we have some transparency in the hair. So that's what we're looking for, and you can see that that mask is affecting that part and that's affecting that part. So it's a combination of masks to make the perfect selection, along with the new feature of select subject. Until next time, see you soon in Adobe Photoshop CC. Cheers.